Greetings and salutations, Internet Distance. It is I, Wolfphototech, and this time, this is another little special video. As you see, I got some Dungeons and Dragons stuff tossed up here, because this is Dungeons and Dragons related. But, I recently ordered something a little special. I already opened it up because I was at work. It came in, at the end of the day, and, one of my coworkers, I was like wondering, what was this package? And I'm like, I opened it up. Oh, it's this. So I go and show it to my coworker who is big into Dungeons and Dragons. And this is what I got. I managed to win in a little auction. So, first and foremost, to get the little wrap off. I already had it off once before. The original Dungeons and Dragons white box by TSR. Tactical Studies Rules. Originally written by Gary Gygax and Anderson. Now, this is not just a regular Dungeons and Dragons original white box set. It's a little dinged up here and there, but it's okay. There's more to this white box because it's not just the original 3 books. I got myself one of these, which is Volume 1 of 3 volumes. These are the original 3 books that came in the original white box, or actually the original wood grain box, but became the white grain box. The wood grain box is the first run, or the first runs. And there's volume 3. And then there's this extra little sheet, this section right here, they're called the reference sheets. This is a little extra information that was not originally included in the first few runs. These reference sheets have various key rules and key rules that were not included in the first 3 books. And the reason why these first 3 books did not have these key rules that the game runs on is because the game was originally the original Dungeons and Dragons was somewhat an expansion to the Chainmail rule set, which was which was published by Gearden Games. Now you notice there's more books. This is the first supplement called Greyhawk, which was Gary Gygax's setting. This book has a bit of Greyhawk in it, but it has mostly rules built around the setting as opposed to Gary Gygax and Robert Kuhns were the writers for this book. So that's the opening page. And then we got Eldritch Wizardry, which is supplement 3. Now you notice this is supplement 1, this is supplement 3. The only supplement I'm missing between these two is Blackmore. And then I got supplement 4 is Gods, Demigods, and Heroes. And then there's also 2 more, I do believe. There's Swords and Sorcery and maybe something else. But I recently just got these, and this is kind of cool as heck to get my hands on. But this is all about gods and demigods and heroes and the mechanics that are tied into them. And this wasn't used very much. You can see the first page opens up, and then that was a pretty fresh book. List of creatures and various monster gods and creatures with gods with their armor class ratings. Now, the armor class system in the original Dungeons and Dragons is different. Instead of an ascending order, it's descending. So armor class 1 is actually superior to armor class 12. Armor class 12 is inferior to armor class 1. You have more armor with armor class 1. Got the books out of order. These original books in the set of 3, including the box, was originally $10, and this was originally sold for $5 at one point, and this was originally sold for $5, and this was originally sold for $5. So that's rather fascinating. You go on eBay now, and you can easily spend in $200 or $300 plus dollars in a snap for probably 10, 15, 20, $30 of books. That's kind of neat. Now, the neat thing is that pretty much all these books almost entirely fit in the white box. If I got black more, it'd probably finish out the box, and I would be short for swords and sorcery. I might at some point decide to do more D&D stuff on the channel, but I'm going to get back into video games, and I'm going to do a bit on card games, and stuff like that, you know. I sometimes will buy card packs. I already pulled this out, but I have yet to go through these cards and work out what I want to do with them. I'm a fan of green myself, but yeah, I get, in spite of the fact that I keep to myself for the most part and only socialize at work and select outside of work situations. I don't know why I keep putting it back in the box, because I keep putting back in the box. But anyways, I don't get out that much, but gaming is one of those things I actually do leave my place for. So that was a really nice little bit there. Now, go through this quickly here. Book 1 was written by Dave Anderson. By the way, this was referencing Lake Geneva. That is a 20-minute drive from where I live. I live a hop, skip, and a jump away from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Now, it actually, when you open this first book, it actually references the original chainmail game. Right there, see? If you can see it. Recommended equipment, Dungeons and Dragons, and you have it. Next thing you need is Outdoor Survival, available from a hobby dealer or directly from Avalon Hill Company. Gives you the address, 4510 Harford Road, Baltimore, MD, Maryland, 21214. I also ask you to have some dice, at least one pair of 4-sided dice, one pair of 8-sided dice, 20 pairs of 6-sided dice, one pair 20-sided dice, and one pair 12-sided dice. And then it has, and also as well as chainmail, miniature rules, latest edition, available from your hobby dealer or directly from TSR Hobbies. POB 756, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin 53147. And in that, it includes 1 3-ring notebook, referee and each player. Graph paper, 6 lines per inch is best. Sheet protectors, heavy as possible. 3-ring lined paper, drafting equipment and colored pencils, scratch paper and pencils. Imagination! Yeah, it's pulling SpongeBob out. one patient referee, which was also when they used the word referee, that's what they used to use for the term DM back in the day. And players. Now, the artwork is actually rather nice and simple. There's, by the way, I have to warn you, there's some nudity in some of the artwork. Because, back in those days, these were a bunch of guys that were just having a ton of fun on making this stuff. And they wanted to share with people. And they often will cram in all kinds of fun stuff. The artwork is kind of, Now there's different, there's different classes, regarding classes. There is Fighting Man, Magic Users, Clerics, and that seems to be it. Yeah. Magic Users and Clerics and Fighting Man. So you basically have the Fighting Man, which is a straight up fighter, beats up people very effectively. Magic User is your magic user, basically your wizard, so they cast your spells. And your Cleric is your 50-50 blend class as in the game. And they kept it nice and simple. And now here, there's some tables. And some tables of monsters and spells. And some spells. And that's what a goblin looked like in the artwork back in the day. I want to go over... Oh, here's a short list of other books they have used back in the day. They made it back in the day. Oftentimes for other games. There's Tactics, Rules for World War II Miniatures, 3 booklets plus charts boxed. Panzer Warfare, Rules for World War II Mass Armor Battles. Boot Hill, Rules for Man-to-Man Action in the Wild West. A Little Bighorn, the 1876 Sussex Uprising boxed board game, die-cut counters and color map. Tricolor, the Napoleonic War game in miniatures. Cavaliers and Roundheads, English Civil War miniatures rules. Don't Give Up the Ship, miniatures rules for the Great Age of Sail, single ship actions, large battles. There's Classic Warfare, rules for the ancient period from the Pharaohs to the Byzantine Empire. And then there's Fighting in the Skies, World War I aero combat game boxed. Chainmail, rules for medieval miniatures plus fantasy. Dungeons and Dragons, Swords and Sorceries wargaming with paper, pencil, and miniatures, 3 booklets boxed. Greyhawk supplement 1 for D&D. Blackmore supplement 2 for D&D. Eldritch Wizardry supplement 3 for D&D. Dungeon, the board game Fantastic Dungeon Adventure for 1 to 12 people, 1 to 12 players boxed. Empire of the Petal Throne, fantasy venture on the world of Turkomel, 3 full-color maps boxed. War of Wizards, game of dueling between 2 mighty wizards, expertise in EPT, used in D&D rules, die-cut, counters, and board and Ziploc. Okay, I might have to look up that. War of Wizards, TSR. Okay, that's something I have to do some more research on there. Because, game of dueling between 2 mighty wizards, exscripted from EPT, Usable in D&D rules die cut counters board in Ziploc. Then there's Star Probe, game of adventures, exploration, and conflict in space. Multi-sided die sets, obviously. Percentile dice, character acrylic, and complete catalog. And that was fascinating. And the second book is Monsters and Treasure. The first book is Men and Magic, and the second book is Monsters and Treasure. And it starts out with, humanoid enemies like Buccaneers, Berserkers, Brigadons, Devourers, Nomads, Buccaneers, Pirates, Cavemen, Mermen, Goblins, Kobolds, Orcs, Hobgoblins, Gnolls, Orcs, Trolls, Giants, Skeletons, Zombies, Ghouls, Wits, Wraiths, Mummies, Spectres, Vampires, Cockatrice, Basilisk, Medusae, Gorgons, Manticoras, Hadaras, Hadara! Oh my goodness, I just slipped into Toho verse there. Chimeras, Wyverns, Dragons. And it has a nice little chart for the different dragons that were in the original D&D. Because after all, you had to have dragons in your D&D. There's a bunch of fun stuff in here. Even more stuff on dragons. Dragons are very important in D&D. And then you go into Dragon Treasure and Balrogs and Gargoyles and Lycanthropes, which you got 4 different base types. You got the classic werewolf, which is an armor class of 5. Wereboar, which is armor class of 4. Were-tiger, which has an armor class of 3. And a werebear has an armor class of 2. Now, if you remember what I said earlier in the video, in the original Dungeons & Dragons, Edition 0, the original, which is this, superior armor class is actually the lowest number, not the highest number. So, flip it. Movement for werewolves was 15, wereboar was 12, were-tiger was 12, and werebear was 9. Hit dice for a werewolf was a 4, a wereboar was 4 plus 1, a were-tiger was 5, and a werebear was 6. Werewolves were neutral chaos, wereboars were neutral to chaos, were-tigers were neutral to chaos, and werebears were law to neutral. And you got purple worms, sea monsters, minotaurs, centaurs, unicorns, nixies. These water sprites are neutral in nature, but they will always seek to lure humans beneath the waters to enslave for 1 year. For every 100 nixies that appear, there will be 1 charm person spell being cast at a person within 3 feet of their lair. Any charmed person will immediately proceed underwater and remain there until the year is up. When he is freed, the magic spell has a 75% chance of succeeding before the charmed person is immersed. Nixies are otherwise armed with daggers, javelins, 6-foot throwing. I have to look at that symbol chart there to figure that out. I think it's actually 60 feet, but they're using a little mark behind it. So it's 30 feet and possibly 60 feet. In the water, they will be accompanied by a school of largest to fiercest fish living there within. There within! Probably muskies, pike, and gar. Clearly from Wisconsin. The size of the school being 10 to 100 fish. The fish will attack on command from the nixies, but flames such as Flaming Sword will keep the fish back, but not the nixies. There's also Pixies, Dryads. By the way, Pixies are also described in the Chainmail Fantasy expansion section. Some of these creatures are actually referenced here. Like pixies. But then if you see, it'll reference that there's more information in Chainmail. So you truly want the complete the original D&D deal, you got to go hunt down Chainmail, which is between $1,000 and $7,000 on eBay, depending on condition. However, prices are going down right now because people are freaking out about the whole end of the world thing, and the Chinese virulence that is causing people to hoard toilet paper. There's griffins, stalkers, elementals. I actually skipped a few pages. Just as I said, there's purple worms, sea monsters, minotaurs, nixies, pixies, dryads, gnomes, dwarves, elves, ents, pegasi, hippogriffs, rooks, griffons, invisible stalkers, earth elementals, fire elementals, water elementals, Daijin, Ifriti, ochre jelly, black or gray puddings, green slime, gray ooze, yellow mold, insects or small animals, large insects or animals, other monsters. It gets into the little chart for gelatinous cubes. Yeah. Chart for gelatinous goobies. And then drop rates for items. Percentage rates. And that's the artwork for a Medusa. And that's there. She's probably going to go to sleep as opposed to turn you to stone. Griffon. Wraith, 8th, and Fire Elemental. And then the fourth book is the Underworld and Wilderness Adventures. So this book is all about. This is basically DM's guide for the game. Basically, hey, this is how you set up your campaigns, and how you run an experience, your treasure, your scales, stuff like that. Move, turn in Underworld. Some more charts. Nazgul? A Nazgul. Different types of hostile humanoids you can run into each region. Basic concept of a castle. Into the dungeon. A mummy. Types of vessels and movement. Gargoyle. Rules for missile fire, playing area, ramming, spear oars off, grappling, boarding, command control, swimming, ship capture. Special suggestions for monsters and naval adventures. Healing wounds and various other things. And then, as I said, this reference sheet is all the little special rules. However, it's just all sheets in separate little sections, breaking down all the little key bits and pieces of the game. Spell tables. Mummies, specters, vampires. Some charts for them. Movement type, man on foot, wagon or cart, draft horse, heavy horse, medium horse, light horse, raft, boat, merchant ship, galley. Types flying, Balrog, dragon, griffin, hippogriff, rock, hawk, pegasus, broom, carpet, Afridi, Dajan or air elemental. In hexes, so there was hex already in the OG. Different armors, your different weapons. Interestingly enough, it's important to note that all weapons use the same die in the original D&D. So it doesn't matter what weapon you use the same die. I do believe that, if that's correct. I will go through this in more detail, and I will do a video probably dedicated to each individual book, depending on how much interest people have in such a thing. There's not very many reference sources online about such things. So, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and leave a comment below. If you want, I'll actually go through the other books and stuff like that. But I will try to get back to my regular cycle of games. And I'll throw in little extra stuff here and there. I got a whole bunch of videos I made a long time back that I have yet to upload or release. So, yeah. Well, thank you very much, and have a wonderful day and a delightful night and an awesome year.